Another question. Earlier this year, the government appointed two young senators, and there was a lot of excitement around that. What do you think about
in some quarters?
Well, what do you think about the fact that for what would have been the first debate, and I'm pretty sure that, and maybe I'm just a political junkie, as a journalist, that people were looking forward to hear what the senators had to say to maybe gauge them as budding politicians.
I would think so. And they're not just senators, they're ministers. One of them is a minister. Right? Two of them are ministers, sorry. And this is to be expected that you will present in the parliament, whether you knew or not, or whether you were expecting to do it this time or not. That is your obligation, that's your duty. And you're quite right. I expect that some persons would have been looking forward to hearing them present. And we in the opposition, we always look forward to hear them, not them, but everybody on the other side speak so that we can respond as well. And they were present, and they did not rise to the occasion. They could have gotten up and they could have spoken. And if you're looking forward to the opportunity to doing that, then you're called upon early, you should say, all right, let me take this chance and show myself. But none of them did it. So it shows something as well as to their, possibly their level of preparedness when they were there that morning.
I think it's important that this bit of context be added to what transacted this morning. In an informal sense, before the speaker came out, Prime Minister Gonzales approached me. At that time, I think I was the lone member on the opposition benches who was inside the halls. And he asked whether or not I was ready to go. Firstly, it was not his business for me to tell him when I'm ready to go. It is a strategic position for us. But I indicated to him that I will not go first, and that it was expected that a member on the government benches will go first. He went, he had some interactions with members on his side, and then he said to me, well, I would go. If I have to go, I would go. I said, go right ahead. So when the speaker asked, and the Honorable Prime Minister rose to his feet, having intimated to me that he will speak because the others were not ready to speak, it was the understanding that he was going to use his time and address the Parliament on the budget. I think that must be understood and must be taken in context with what my learned friend, my senior friend, Mr. Cummins, said from West Kingston. That when the Prime Minister stood, he indicated to the Parliament that it's unfortunate that he had to speak ahead of Friday. So he was saying that I am going to speak.
You spoke of your interaction with the Prime Minister.
Yes.
What did you conclude that the Prime Minister was trying to ascertain or do this morning? You said he spoke to you, and then he went over and spoke to his members. What do you think he was trying to do there?
Well, I formed the conclusion that the honourable member for North Central Windward, who is the Prime Minister of the country, was seeking to size up who from the opposition benches would speak, and preferably or possibly in what particular order. We have to make a decision whether or not we disclose the order in which we're going to speak for that matter. The important point that has to be noted is this, and I want the listeners and the viewers to hear me out very clearly on this. There were 10 remaining members on the government side to speak. Our situation was that the honourable member for South Leeward is ill and out of Parliament since Monday. The honourable member for East Kingston took ill and had to leave the Parliament yesterday. So this morning, we were down to 4 speakers and the government 10.
And 2 of us had already spoken.
2 of us had already spoken. So we had Mr. Cummins, Mr. Olivier, myself, and who did I miss? Leacock. Right. He wasn't there, but I'm saying those are the only 4 who we had guaranteed who were available to speak. Because we are not
And he wasn't there because he was attending
an
emergency situation that arisen.
But the point is they had 10 persons to speak. And so we had to share the responsibility in getting on. I was fully prepared. Up to last night I was having meetings in my preparation. Fully, I could deliver my budget presentation at this moment. I was absolutely 100% prepared. But I'll say this to you, for those who are listening. And it goes to Ashford's question. Ashford, before the minister with responsibility for youth, social affairs, etc. spoke, mobilization spoke, The shadow minister in Senator Jan delivered her budget presentation. So we're not saying that in every occasion that we're running horse and cat. We're not saying that that is what it is. But we also have to make sure that strategically that we don't outspeak ourselves, and then certain utterances are made over there that does not allow any member on our side then to be in a position to be able to
But
to deal with
most
them.
importantly is to have the government's budget presentation in total before you respond. In particular, where you have, as the Honourable Terence mentioned, when you have, you know that the minister said, the other members are actually, I'm just giving you a little bit, the minister will be more substantive. How you want to debate without knowing the full story as to what the government will say? But it's not, this is not something that need to be, that should be put at our feet. We, in the budget debate, this is the obligation, and the most important thing, the most egregious thing that happened this morning, the most inexcusable thing, the most contemptuous and insulting thing, was that the Honourable Prime Minister was in the House of the Parliament. He could have spoken. He refused to speak on his own budget. You have to ask yourself why.